You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. There is a reason most people remain slaves to their emotions. It is not because they are weak, it is not because life is unfair. It is because they never learned where control truly lives. You were taught to control outcomes, you were taught to control people's opinions, you were taught to control results. But no one taught you the only thing that actually belongs to you, your mind. And until you master that, you will always be controlled. Controlled by anger. Controlled by jealousy. Controlled by fear. Controlled by comparison. Controlled by rejection. Controlled by failure. You will react instead of respond, explode instead of evaluate, withdraw instead of endure. Stoicism begins with a brutal truth. Most of what disturbs you is not the event, it is your interpretation of the event. When someone insults you, what actually hurts? Is it the sound waves in the air, or the meaning you assign to them? When you lose money, what devastates you? The number itself, or the story you tell yourself about what that loss means? You feel powerless because you gave power away. The Stoics did not seek comfort, they sought clarity. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He did not promise safety. He did not guarantee fairness. He said your reaction is yours. That is the battlefield. If someone disrespects you, there are two moments, the event and your judgment. Between those two lies your freedom. Most people collapse that space and become automatic, predictable, emotional machines. The Stoic trains to widen that space, to pause, to observe, to ask, is this within my control? This is the dichotomy of control, the foundation of Stoic power. There are only two categories in life, what is up to you and what is not. Your thoughts, your actions, your character, up to you. Other people's behavior, the economy, the weather, the past, not up to you. Negative emotions explode when you demand control over what was never yours. You get angry because someone doesn't act how you expect. You get anxious because the future isn't guaranteed. You get bitter because the past cannot be rewritten. You suffer because you argue with reality. Reality always wins. Mastery is this: when chaos happens outside, you remain structured inside. When insult comes, you examine it. When loss happens, you endure it. When fear rises, you interrogate it. The Stoic does not suppress emotion, he investigates it. Anger feels powerful and righteous. But Seneca called anger a brief madness. When you are angry, are you rational, strategic, or reactive? Anger hijacks reason, and reason is your throne. If someone insults you, and you erupt, who is in control? Not you, they are. You gave them authority over your state. True power is the ability to remain unmoved, not because you are numb, but because you refuse to surrender judgment. Fear is projection into a future that does not exist. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. The Stoic asks, is this happening now? If not, it is fiction. Prepare rationally, plan intelligently, but do not emotionally live inside a future ghost. Anxiety is misuse of imagination. Jealousy poisons gratitude. You see someone else succeed and interpret it as your diminishment. But another person's success subtracts nothing from you. Jealousy arises when identity is external. If your worth depends on outperforming others, you will never be at peace. The Stoic roots identity in virtue, not status. Can you act with integrity? Can you endure hardship? Can you remain disciplined? That is your domain. Mastery does not mean you will not feel emotion, it means emotion will not command you. The Stoic feels anger and pauses, feels fear and evaluates, feels sadness and reflects. Emotion becomes data, not dictator. There is a difference between feeling and obeying. Most people obey, the Stoic examines. You are addicted to emotional drama. You replay arguments, imagine revenge, fantasize about validation because intensity feels alive. Calm feels boring. But calm is power. A man who cannot be provoked cannot be manipulated. A man who cannot be rushed cannot be pressured.
A man who cannot be insulted cannot be controlled. Ask yourself how easily someone can disturb you. One comment, one delay, one criticism. Then your price is low. Raise your threshold, train your mind like a muscle. When irritation appears, delay expression. When criticism arrives, analyze it. If it is true, improve. If it is false, ignore.
Why be disturbed by falsehood? If someone calls you incompetent and you are competent, why react? If you are incompetent, improve. There is no logical path to rage. The Stoic understands that nothing external can harm your character unless you allow it. You can lose wealth and remain honorable, lose status and remain disciplined. Lose reputation and remain virtuous. Society trained you to protect image over integrity. Comfort over resilience. Approval over autonomy. So when approval disappears, you panic. Judge yourself by effort and virtue, not applause. The crowd is unstable. Today they cheer, tomorrow they condemn. If your peace depends on them, you are fragile. Define yourself by process, not labels. I am someone who learns. I am someone who persists. Failure becomes information, not annihilation. If you want emotional control, stop seeking comfort and seek strength. Train voluntary discomfort. Choose discipline over convenience. Controlled hardship builds tolerance. When real adversity strikes, you will not collapse because you rehearse discomfort. The Stoics practiced negative visualization, imagining loss to become prepared. Bring the worst into the light and it shrinks. You are not upset because events are catastrophic, you are upset because expectations were violated. Expectation is a silent contract with reality, reality never signed it. Lower expectation, raise preparation. Entitlement fuels outrage. Resilience fuels calm. You are responsible for your mental framing. Even pain does not dictate behavior unless you allow it to. Pain is inevitable, suffering is interpretation. How many minutes do you waste reacting to traffic, comments, news, office politics? Emotional leakage drains strategic focus. If your mission matters, your emotional discipline must match it. Greatness requires composure under pressure. Pressure reveals character. When pressure increases, most fracture, the Stoic sharpens. Most suffering is personalization. Maybe they ignored you because they are preoccupied, insecure, indifferent. Why assume malicious intent? Interpret neutrally first. Emotional neutrality is advantage. You cannot control your first feeling, but you can control how long you dwell. The first reaction is biology, the second reaction is philosophy. When anger appears, say, "This is anger, not truth." Separate yourself from emotion. You are not angry, you are experiencing anger. Language creates distance, and distance creates control. Observe thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Would you advise a friend to explode? No. So why advise yourself differently? Be your own strategist. You are not your emotion, you are the witness of it. Train the witness. Sit in silence. Observe thoughts without engagement. You will see they arise, spike, and fade. They are waves. Anchor yourself in principles, integrity, discipline, courage, rationality. When emotion conflicts with principle, choose principle every time. That builds self-trust, and self-trust is emotional armor. Imagine living unshaken, insults analyzed calmly, loss adapted strategically, fear prepared for rationally. Criticism turned into improvement. Not cold, not numb, but sovereign. You stop being a puppet of circumstance and become architect of response. The world will always be unstable. Markets fluctuate, people betray, plans fail, health declines. But your mind can be fortified. Once fortified, you cannot be controlled, not by anger, not by fear, not by envy, not by chaos. You become calm in crisis, measured in conflict, strategic in adversity. This is Stoic mastery,
and it is available now, because control has always been where it belongs, inside.